All right, at 6 o'clock. I thank all of y'all for coming out again this evening for our second meeting of the month. New year. For your interest in our city. Roll call, please.
Alderman Chapman.
Present.
Alderman Rapp. Alderman Wilson. Dubose.
Present.
Alderman Bastro.
Present.
Alderman Chastain.
Present.
Alderman Lennep. Mayor Lennep.
Thank you. It's Alderman Lennep on the call.
No, he didn't say anything.
In Alderman Lennep's absence, I'm honored to introduce his pastor. We're going to do our devotion this evening. Pastor Brandon Smith, friend of mine, thank you for coming. Please come in your own way, sir. For devotion.
I'll open in prayer. Heavenly Father, you sent your Son among us to proclaim the kingdom of God in cities, towns, villages, and lonely places. Behold and visit, we pray, the community of Moss Point. Renew the bonds of charity that uphold our civic life. Send us honest and able leaders. Deliver us from poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice with mercy. And at the last, bring us to your holy city, the New Jerusalem, where we shall know perfect unity and peace. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, I wanted to share with you a little bit about what my vision has been at Dantzler, being their pastor, and moving to Moss Point for the past year and a half. And the biggest thing that I've seen, you know, there's 70 churches in Moss Point, and the thing that I've seen is we need the youth to come back to all 70. And so I thought, how would we do this? And so we kind of made a strategy plan and said, as a team, and said, all right, we grew from 30 to about 100 in the past year. And so now what do we do? And how do we mix this up a little bit? Because if you look at the average age of those that are in our congregation, it's like 60. So we decided that we were going to do a second service at 5:15, and we're trying and shooting for, and this is like chasing windmills, so I sound a little bit like Noah telling you I'm going to build an ark. But we're shooting for a multi-generational, interdenominational, interracial kind of worship service where everybody's included, and we're aiming for the youth. And then we're providing stuff like troops. So we started 2 new troops. We did a girls troop, American Heritage Girls, and then we did another boys troop, Trail Life. And what we're trying to do is have that set up so that families can come from wherever to do those programs at the same time as we're doing the service. And then after that, have a youth service where they break into small groups and pizza and that kind of stuff. But by doing it at 5:15, that means the whole community, anybody, doesn't matter what church you belong to, could come to this. And also, we can partner with churches to do these Trail Life and these AHG. The biggest thing for me as the pastor of that church is finding volunteers. And so if your average age is 60 and you're trying to reach the youth, boy, I'll take any of you that can pass a background check and are willing to sit there and do something amazing. And you don't have to be a member. You're just coming to do a civic thing for us. And that's kind of where my heart is, and I wanted to share that with everybody. I also wanted to share, if your church wants to start AHG troop or a Trail Life, you can come see what we've set up at our church, and I'll help you with that. So anybody that's interested in any of working together and collaborating, that would be great. And our prayer is for this city and for our state and for God to bless everybody.
Thank you. Pastor, you say you have 100, you got 100 now?
Yeah, there was nobody there. I felt like, it felt like ghost town, and then now it's taken off. So that's good. So I'm preaching like a revival, and I'm saying we're Billy Graham up in here. And so that's kind of how I'm doing that. And people came from other Methodist churches, and they're trying to, it all went global and United Methodist split and all that stuff. But global is more evangelical, more outreach oriented, more missions oriented than what we were doing before. Not necessarily that the other one wasn't, but we're just like focusing in on that and trying to grow so that we don't dwindle off.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'd like to talk to you more about it.
Yeah,
Call you in several appointments to talk to you about
be awesome.
it. So I can help you anywhere I can help you with that.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Please stand for the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor, for coming, and on behalf of Alderman Lennep, he's recovering from a medical issue. And he told me he didn't know whether he would feel like being on a call, but that's why he's not here. We have, you would have him in your prayers. Were you aware of that, Pastor? He's in the hospital?
Yes, I talked to him this morning. I told him to stop swallowing marbles. Yes, thanks.
Okay, we're down to our item number 2. We're happy to have with us here Ms. Michelle Getz. She's with the Wolfe accounting firm, and she to give us a report on our 2022 audit.
Evening, everyone. I think you all have the copies in front of you. Hopefully you've had a chance to previously review it as well. As the mayor said, I'm Michelle Guest. I'm here to present the fiscal year 22 audit. We issued 3 audit reports in this package. The first being the independent auditor's report on the financial statements themselves. This report lays out everyone's responsibility. It states that the management is responsible for the financial statements, and it's our responsibility to issue an opinion on them based on our audit findings and our audit testing. We did issue what we call an unmodified opinion, which means that based on what we've seen, we feel that these are materially correct in accordance with cash-based accounting. We were from last year's audit, fiscal year 21, city transitioning from GAAP accrual-based accounting to cash basis in order to be able to alleviate some of the issues we had. Audits were very important. During 21. So this alleviated some of the burden to transition to cash basis. There is a separate paragraph in that report that states that is not considered GAAP. It is just in other bases of accounting. The second audit report we issued towards the back is the independent audit report on internal control over financial reporting compliance. And this report defines what a material weakness and a significant deficiency in internal control is. We did have a few findings. They're the same as last year's all routine findings. We were able to remove 2 of the findings from the fiscal year 21 audit, but otherwise these are repeat findings. The last report is the independent auditor's report on compliance with state laws. We not audit your compliance with state laws, but the state auditor does require us to perform some procedures to assess where you guys are at with compliance with those state laws. And we did have one finding. Again, it's a repeat finding. In previous years, our city or you all to correct these when the audit comes out 4 years later. So this particular finding is related to the budget approval. In the past, you all, management, Aldermen have approved the budget on for just the general fund instead of all major funds, which is required by law. I believe that you all in the future, I think you are now compliant, but for fiscal year 22, you were not. Any questions? I know I skipped over all the numbers, but again, this is fiscal year 22. About a third of the way into fiscal year 26. So I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions? Michelle, you engaged for 2023.
And we have.
Can you give me some timeline on it?
Sure. This one took a little under 4 months. We had 3 holidays in that Thanksgiving, New Year's. So I am aiming for 3 months. I can't guarantee anything, but that is my best estimate.
Well, publicly, we, just let you know, I think it's publicly known how far behind we've been on these audits, and we're slowly making our way out of it because, way before our administration, the budget was structured. The accounts was put into one pot. And that's why it's been so difficult to untangle all of that. All those different accounts we've had, that's 9 in 1. Now you have to go back and identify those accounts again and pull them out, identify them properly and calculate them accurately. That's why we're at this point. So we finally got 22, 23
It's in progress.
is in progress by end of March, then 24, 25 is start at that 24, 25, 26. At that point, so it's slowly getting there. Any questions, gentlemen? Thank you, Michelle. This is in the body of our agenda to either approve or accept, so we'll deal with that later. Thank you.
Mayor, before we move on, and I point out thanks to Chris for texting me. We need to go ahead and approve the agenda, and then there's an amendment agenda that goes with it.
Yeah, sorry about that. You have the agenda in front of you, gentlemen. We do have an amended item, we add to the agenda. Item would be main agenda, 5.4. This is a requisition for, fence at the ballpark at Gote Ballpark. We add that 5.4 to main agenda for any discussion. Is there anything, on the agenda, in the main agenda, I mean, the, consent agenda that you would like to move down to the main agenda for discussion?
Mayor, we did get a request to move consent agenda item 4.6. The main agenda for this
Item 4.6,
commission item.
6 will be moved down to, that'd be 5.5 and 5. 4.6 in the consent agenda. Move down to 5.6.
5.5.
5. Anything else?
That's all I have.
No, thank you, Judge. Can we get approval of the agenda with those corrections? So moved. Second. From Wilson, second by Alderman Dubose. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, well, we're down to the board reports. Any question? Any question to any of the department heads?
The Recreation Department President,
Everybody?
Recreation Department here.
Yes, Donaldson.
Yeah, Mayor, as I spoke to you on several occasions, I'm concerned about the progress on Goshen Street specifically, other recreation areas also. We're scheduled to start playing ball in March. I've been doing walkthroughs almost every day and I see no progress on the building. I hear a lot of things being said, surveys, fence being put up, but there's no progress. I mean, I go out there every day. I see nothing. I see, and you said you're gonna run the league, right? You're gonna run the league, we're gonna run that league this year. And we haven't started registration. We haven't sent out sponsorship letters. We haven't done any of that. But, and it's gonna be February. I'm just trying to know how we're gonna pull it off.
So. That's it. Your question?
Well, that's the end of that question. I got a lot of questions.
So just to answer that, registration has begun. We began registration back in December. So with that registration, of course, it carries the same culture as any other sport. You know, on the back end of it, we see more people register towards the end of the deadline. We even did a pre-registration this year just to get some traction. That pre-registration period only yielded us just a few registrations. It has picked up now that we have the online registration active. And so we're letting our citizens know that we have online registration, because that's been the hindrance in most of our registration processes. And so now that we have online, we've seen it picked up almost immediately where the registration has picked up. Sponsorship letters in regards to that, we've been talking to sponsors individually, because now that it's on the city side versus on an independent league side, the independent leagues, they depend solely on sponsorships. Whereas we do have some funding to be able to run the baseball league. So it's not as urgent as it would be with an independent league, but it is still one of our priorities. And so we have been talked individually to some sponsors who are making commitments. And so with the league itself, the league is set to start in March. So we're on track. We've already gotten our association and our affiliations with Diamond Youth Baseball League. All of that's intact. Getting baseball back in the city of Moss Point, but it is taking everybody in its places to help us to be able to do that. We planned this weekend, like we did every year, with the Shuckers to be able to get the ball fields ready for play. And so this week, we know that there is potential weather coming in. So that date, while it was set for a community day with everybody, coaches, volunteers, players, to know that baseball is gonna be going on in the city this year, we have to actually cancel that event for Saturday because of the weather, and Shuckers have postponed it to February the 7th. So that aside, each day, something is going on to get baseball ready. The things that you may see or not see, those that we're just at the final stages of it, the repairs that are supposed to be done out there, we're at the final stages of that. And I know you want to see activity, you want to see kids playing, and you want to see coaches out there and lights turned on. And so we have addressed your concerns from our last meeting, and so you'll be able to see those things in the future.
Mayor, we've done this quite a bit. We've done this we do this almost every month. Same report, Shuckers this gonna happen. But I ran that league for 14 years as a volunteer. I'm telling you, stage where y'all at right now, it will never happen in March, not in Moss Point. We got to do better with that league than we're doing. Because you said you got online registration. How many you got? How many registration you got? Somebody told me the other day, 2.
6.
6.
Just since we did online registration, instantly they picked up.
Are we doing anything to be creative to reach the kids going to the schools?
Notice that they've gone out to the schools. And so we have gone out, talked to the PE teachers at the schools. We're even sending notices out to the churches. So we are making a collective effort. Of course, if you haven't had baseball the last year, getting our children back is our top priority. And so we're reaching out, any and everybody. That's what this community day was gonna be about on Saturday, so that they would know whoever you are. Bring the children out so that they can see that there's activity going on at the field. Come out yourself, volunteer, so that we can make sure that everything is ready. We're winding down in terms of the repairs, but it's going to take all of us working together, let them know, hey, register your kids, go online, go on the city's website to get your kids registered. And so that's what our push is now, to push the online registration, because that's what our parents been asking for, the online registration. Now that we've got it, again, instantly, this was as of last week, instantly we saw that. So we're looking for that to pick up, and we're doing a full push, to get that registration up.
Mayor, as elected official, I want to say it publicly, but it won't be no, I heard or Bradford said this or whatever. I'm so disappointed in what we're doing for our young people in this community. One gets shot or shoot somebody, it's big news. We're not offering them any outlet. Sue Ellen is closed, Goshen Street closed, all the public recreation facilities are closed, being worked on or whatever. And every month, the same thing, we plan it. And they instead of drifting, they all down in Pascagoula, they everywhere getting in trouble. We have no outlet for them. And recreation is an outlet. Some people don't think recreation is important. Recreation is important. We all got our starts in recreation. I would just like to see more, tangible stuff, something I can actually see, not a plan.
I agree. And in the days to come, Mr. Bradford, we've been going out to the field, we've been going out to see
Every day.
things that's been going on. So we plan to have baseball ready for this coming season, no doubt.
Anything else on?
I got a whole lot, but we ain't gonna tear it tonight with that.
Well,
I
let
had a question,
me just,
not for you,
about baseball, talk about, baseball.
something else.
Okay. Honorable Bradford, we're gonna, let's work with you to continue to, try to satisfy your concerns about that. So we'll, continue to work with you about that and let's keep in touch about that.
Thank you.
Go on by and keep me informed of what you see out there, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Wilson.
Hey, my question is either for Mr. Russell or Mr. Ritchie. Lately, as of recently, it's been brought to my attention about a railroad project out there on Highway 90 and Creole Avenue. Did we have a table on those discussions from an engineering standpoint? Okay,
Met with them today.
yes, sir.
Dug down on all the utility lines, got them. Have been marked for the, they're getting ready to sign for that. So they're gonna make sure that none of our lines get destroyed or anything with them putting the new line in.
I think one of my bigger concerns is that there's a proposal to take away our entrance from Highway 90 going eastbound to make that left turn on the Creole Street, Creole Avenue. From the left, from going westbound on Highway 90, meaning that we'd have to go all the way down to Delius, make a left turn at the light and come back down west to get on that road.
We'll have to.
What about after the construction?
We haven't, well, they wanted us to close it, and I told them, we're not gonna close it. That would have to be a city decision. I can't close it.
Because
We're not gonna allow them to close it, gonna block part of there. But I told them we couldn't block that intersection off right there.
what was their response when you told them that?
They haven't, like I said, they're working on a preliminary drawings right now. So we're supposed to meet again next week. Captain wasn't able to meet us out there today.
If you can keep me in the loop about that, if I need to garner some community support, we've already lost entrance or ingress, egress into Shortcut Road, Frederick Street, and now Creole Avenue. That's a signal that we're never gonna do anything out there. And I don't think that's fair to it doesn't matter about the numbers of the people that are there, but don't take all our main arteries out to be able to travel freely in that corridor. I'm not against the railroad. I just don't understand the logic behind shutting down that entrance onto Creole Avenue. So if you can include us into that discussion, that if I couldn't be there, at the very least, we can get somebody capable to be there on our behalf for Ward 2. Because that's a Ward 1 issue as well.
I was at the meeting and, you know how the railroad, they have bought a lot of property out there, and I wasn't aware of that they bought all that property on Washington. They really planning to close that whole section off there, so you won't be able to come into Morris Point from that area. And I think we need to be a little bit more intangible with them, let them know that we're not, I think they believe we agree with it from what they were saying. But I think we need to go out there with our group and make sure that we're not hurting the city. And then I had one businessman call me and say, he's being pressured to sell. He don't want to sell. I said, well, that's your property. You don't want to sell it, don't sell it. So what they did, they went around him and just went right around him, just left him sitting there. And their plans are just go right around him. He got to put up with all the noise and all the stoppages for the railroad. So they know how the railroad works. You know, when they want something, they go after it. So we're gonna have to find out what the neighbors out there want. We're gonna find out how damaging they're gonna be to that corridor. And then we're gonna have to come up with a decision. I know we don't want to take on the railroad, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, I was in that last meeting, and for those of you that have not seen the drawings and you're not familiar with that project, railroad is proposing to add an additional curve turn. Washington Avenue is the two-way roadway directly behind Mayberry's store. The proposal is to stop at the end of Washington Avenue that intersects with Frederick Street to make a long radius turn so that they can intersect on the north side of Highway 90. So that proposal cuts off the end of Washington, or at least they'll have a barricade. They're proposing a barricade so that they can make that rail tie across Highway 90. The intersection of Highway 90, Rio Avenue, where we have historically been able to make a right turn across Highway 90 westbound to access the eastbound lane. The eastbound access will be barricaded. You will still have the westbound access. And Alderman Wilson brought up a good question a moment ago. Should we still be able to make a left turn on Highway 90 to access what's left of Frederick for that business area right there, or Creole Avenue? So we'll ask that question in the next meeting if we can make that left turn. So to clarify for you, you will not, their proposal is you will not be able to make a left turn from Creole Avenue to west to eastbound Highway 90. It will be westbound. And the only way to access Highway 90 will be to travel on the road to where the Chevron red light, the Chevron roadway red light is at the present time. So we will we'll inquire about that left turn off Highway 90. That's a good question. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's all I have, Mayor.
We've asked Alderman Chapman, Alderman Lloyd Chapman and Alderman Bradford to be in these meetings. And if Alderman Wilson, you can have time when we schedule this meeting, we try to schedule it around your work schedule. I am concerned about that on Frederick. When they close that off, people really express concerns about being able to get in and out, especially some of the businesses that's in that area. So what we're trying to avoid is the same situation that the railroad did at that time. And obviously, I don't know where I was involved in that, how that came about. But now that we're here, we need to at least be a part of the process going forward so we can either agree or not agree. At the end of this discussion, we're going to invite the railroad to come and express in a public meeting what their plans are. So we're board here to help them through the process before they come here.
Mr. Mayor, I failed to mention one other. The intent, if you remember when MDOT was doing the work on that bridge, they had a staging area right at the area where Earl Boulevard intersects with Elder Street. It's a large area right there beneath the bridge. They're proposing using that area for their material lay down area. So for those of you that live in that area, you'll see that kind of activity right there. So you'll be aware of that. Sorry about that, Mayor.
But it'll all be fenced in. When they sandblasted bridge going over the river, they used it as a lay down and they did a pretty good job keeping it cleaned up and everything. So I don't have a problem with that. They're gonna have it fenced in. They're gonna put it out there, so that'll help us to catch those doing illegal dumping. So it's gonna be a benefit to us. But it will be a lot of traffic on the end of Earl and Elder Street. There's gonna be a lot of traffic, a lot of heavy equipment being moved, so you're gonna need to be careful.
The board, question for department heads?
I have one for the chief of police. I've gotten quite a few calls, and I guess for recreation as well. Trying to at least increase some presence out on Sue Ellen, the walking track, and I'm sure you've probably been made aware of it. People have been dumping deer carcasses out there, and just as they're walking, they're having problems. So to increase some kind of presence to keep, not only stray dogs to, every kind of animal that can possibly be out there, eating down on these carcasses. So what we were just looking for is just a little increased presence out there because, that's about the third not only third call I've received from it, but, you know, it was just one of those things that I thought that was kind of crazy to dump a carcass out there. All right, so that was just one of those things I wanted to just bring to attention.
Anything else? All right, down to public comments. We have, Steve Vance.
Good evening, board. Appreciate the chance to get to talk. But I want to bring up a topic that I had an issue with. It wasn't personal to me, but I felt like it was personal enough that I should bring it up to the board. But actually, I spoke to the mayor about this. I'm not going to mention specific names, but there was an issue with the police chief recently with an employee who was making an exit. Police chief asked that particular employee to go ahead and exit without, as far as we know, speaking to the board prior to that particular exit date. And I know that Mississippi Code doesn't allow that without board approval and board. I know they can suspend somebody, but they have to board information about that. Just want to make sure that, you know, you lose his job and he may not have understood that. Maybe don't want to bring that up because Alderman Brown talked about recreation, okay? And so there's a link. And the reason is because that same person, direct relative, is helping fund projects inside the city. Painting the Monarch, Magnolia School, painting the inside of the dugouts for the ball fields. And when you go and you do something where somebody's trying to make a peaceful exit from the city, because they didn't, you know, other things, you just have to be careful. Because you don't want to lose funding for a project that you're asking some outside entity that funded for that they're helping the city do something because you made somebody else mad because you got mad about somebody trying to do something. Just got to be careful.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't understand. You said I did, wasn't I?
Oh, you brought up recreation. So I was talking about that person, that same person's, the person that left the department, that same person's husband is funding through their employment projects that the mayor's asked them to do by the ball field dugouts and paint the Monarch sign out in front of Magnolia, which I think are all great projects, and that's all part of recreation, right? You just gotta be careful. Moss Point's a small town, and you go aggravate, you know, you do something like that, and then they might say, I'm not gonna pay for that, because of whatever reason, you know what I mean? Just gotta be careful. All right, and I just want to make sure the board understood what happened. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vance. Mr. Kowski?
Good evening. I'm very thankful that we got a chief in place as quickly as we did, especially since on November 10th, you all were given a very lengthy report from Josh Broman from the Mississippi State Department of Security. And I just want to call to attention that those action items had deadlines and timelines. And the first timeline is coming up February 1st. And that has to do with repairing the roof leaks, inspecting the HVAC systems, drainage systems, and addressing interior damage resulting from infiltration. Those are all things that have to do with the facility, the police department itself, with a timeline of February 1st. And I also know that comes with a dollar sign. In fact, everything on Mr. Broman's list came with a dollar sign. So I guess my first question, as a resident and feeling like I was getting the best security and meet my needs, where are we going with funding to try to get our police department back to where it needs to be? We all, if I could find a money tree seed, I'd plant a bunch of them. But we don't have a money tree seed. And I don't see any way that we're going to meet those deadlines that were established by Mr. Broman. And Mayor, you asked him to come and take a deep look at what we had and what we didn't have. And even at the last meeting, when I was watching online, Alderman Lennep asked a question about the number of certified employees, and he wasn't allowed to be answered. There was even a comment here made about how this, Chief Stevenson had only been here for a certain amount of time. He couldn't be expected to do all those things. No, you're absolutely right. He can't be. Y'all are expected to do it settled here. And he will never, ever be successful without the support. And I'm not talking personnel, I'm talking money. So unless any of you knows where you're gonna find a whole bunch of money to fund Chief Stevenson, we really need to start really revisiting that MOU with the county. Because I love my city, I love North Point, 57 years I've been here. I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere, but I do not like paying my highest taxes. I do not like paying the highest water bill. And although many of you are my friends and I love each of you dearly, as a board, I am disappointed with where we are today. You're in my prayers every day, and I hope to see some action. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. You keep praying for us. Okay, because the condition that the police building is in and the overall apartment didn't happen overnight. Okay, I got here in 21. When I came into this job, I said, we are broke. And we're still broke.
Nope. Hey, that's
Okay, so you can't get blood out of a turnip. I got the report that I asked for because I know it was in bad shape. But I didn't want to say it. I want the state to say it was in bad shape. So now that I have the plan, we'll try to figure out how to get it done. It's just that simple. I know the plan. I wasn't told before. I know now because I asked for the plan. Now I know where the problems are. So that issue has been there for a while. But unless you told, don't know. Now I know. I promise you the next 2.5 years, I will deal with that one way or the other. I'll deal with it. Okay?
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
The repairs to the roof and the inside of the building, those are FEMA projects from the tornado. We have an extension to February. So we're working on quotes for those repairs for the inside of the building, the floors and the roof.
I would like as a citizen for y'all to keep us abreast of where we are and how much make it public to everybody.
I would like to make a comment on, under this section is that the utilities department will be closed Friday from 8 to 1 for training, get ready for the rollout of the new water meters. So we'll publicize all this, but just want to make it public tonight that come Friday of this week, it will be closed from 8 to 1. And then it will open, of course, at 1 for. So please help us get the word out that it will be closed on Friday from 8 to 1. We're down to item number 4, consent agenda. Can I get a motion to accept 1.4.1 through accept 4.6 and 4 to down to 4.9? Motion by Lennep and second by Chastain. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Judge?
And item 5.1, move to decline Restore Act I-10 corridor, commercial corridor improvements project, request board approval of Restore payment request number 5, $41,574, and authorize mayor to execute same addition to MDEQ submitted by Tricia Pelican, city clerk.
To approve.
Motion by Alderman Wilson, second by Alderman Chapman. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item, 5.2, approve decline Ida Zeta Emergency Drainage Rehabilitation Project R-06-268-01-ZMP. Request board approval of request for cash number 6, $2,500, and authorize mayor to execute same for submission to MDA, submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item, 5.3, approve decline Ida Zeta Emergency Drainage Study Project R-06-268-02-EMP. Request board approval of request for cash number 6, $18,675, and authorize mayor to execute same for submission to MDA, submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Fifteen, second by Alderman, who was that? Chapman. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item, 5.4, approve decline request to accept the lowest and best quote from Budley Construction to install fencing for the Gaucher Street Ballpark project at a cost of $42,249.90, submitted by Donna Joseph, Director of Recreation.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson. Question, yes, sir.
Have the survey been done to start? In the month? I have one more other question about that fencing. Is that the whole entire facility? But that includes backstop and all of that?
It's the outer
Exterior. Fencing.
All right. No, I haven't one.
Good. Alderman Fifteen, question?
Huh? No, I'm, you answered what I was just wondering, thinking everything was gonna be. No use of holding nothing up out there. We need to get everything approved and get started because we're in a situation. So I don't have a problem.
My only question, Mayor, is do we have a start date? Once this is approved?
Evidently,
Do you have a start date for the work to begin?
for the fencing work, so that we can get it approved tonight, we can start.
That's survey.
What they have to do is do that survey and the part of the material, they gave us a 2 week time for that, so we can get the approval, then we can at least start that prep process and start up supporting some changes, survey.
Well, the concern about this timing of it is that the quote is, if you got a quote now, will the quote still be good by the time the survey is completed?
Once it's approved,
Regardless of what the survey says?
started locked in with that particular dollar amount.
Okay, right. So the survey has nothing to do with the fence itself, height and the distance.
Right.
Any other question? All in favor? Nays? Ayes have it.
Next item, item 5.5, is approved decline request by Brittany Smothers for a change in zoning district to change zoning R1B Single Family Residential District to IH Industrial Heavy District located at 4955 Crane Road, Moss Point on parcel 201-20150, period 000. Ketchot, Director of Jackson County Planning Department, moved by Planning Commission on January 12, 2026. Alderman Shirley Brett.
Is that on the route that's in your
Yeah,
ward?
I had it moved off the agenda because when I read the paperwork, it said, some trucks and potted, the outdoor potted. I'm concerned about the smell. I don't mind the zoning, but I think what she needs is an exception instead of, Marcus might be explaining, we could get an exception to use up that little building for office. I think that's what she wants. But the truckings, I need for her to explain that if they're gonna be used, or that's where you're gonna clean them at. What do about the smell, what we're gonna do the dumping at? Is there plumbing out there for the dumping to be, you need a drainage when you clean it, potters, I would assume. I would hate to approve something and then all of a sudden smells just start coming up all across the east side there, and we'll have a problem. Because if that wind catches it going north.
Patrick, this is a zone change, so
Right.
what she's saying that she may do out there doesn't mean that she's locked into that. Once it's changed to heavy industrial, she could do anything that's listed in the heavy industrial matrix, in other words. So what she said in the meeting, she really shouldn't have said that at all. She should have stuck just to the criteria for a zone change. Not talk about what she may or may not do there. And the criteria for a zone change, of course, is, has the neighborhood changed to warrant such a zone change? Is there a public need? And was there a mistake in the original zoning? And that really wasn't discussed much in the meeting, which it should have. They should have stuck to that criteria only.
So well, what do you want to do out there?
Yeah, 3 parcels, the road is, 2 of the parcels are already zoned for heavy industrial. The one that's not has it has a structure there, and I would like to make that my office. And also let those parcels match my heavy industrial property. I would like that to be the same as that. And the public need is, once I start the porta potty business, I can employ Moss citizens, at least 5, at least. But my idea is to have my parcels match each other. They're 10 feet away from each other. 2 of them is right on top of each other, and 1 of them is 10 feet away. Back there, you have Moss Point, you have Jackson County Port Authority, you have Mississippi Export, and you have Mississippi Power. All of those are listed as heavy industrial. That whole area is heavy industrial. It's 2 dwellings on that other side, which I brought the property from that family, the Crane family. And they're okay with that. They stood up for me. They just had something to do today. The last meeting they was here and they stood up for me. So the objective for me is to just get all my parcels matched. And it will benefit the community if I move forward towards the business side. But all of my parcels, I would like for them to match. They're in that same heavy industrial environment. And it will not tear up any roads because I have a F-350 flatbed. It's a regular truck. It's not gonna hurt the roads and smell. I will not leave any used porta potties there. The porta potties will get cleaned at the work sites that I will be servicing. And the truck itself will be cleaned at the local disposal sites. So everything will be cleaned back there. It will not tear up no roads. It's not big enough to tear any roads up. It's a regular flatbed with a disposable tank in the back. So I just want my parcels to match. It's a structured area, the one I'm trying to change.
Alderman Bradford, I think tonight's meeting is about the rezoning.
Right.
Then whenever she wanna start a business, she gotta come back to make sure it fits that zoning designation.
That's what I was concerned about, because she was getting it approved and I hadn't heard anything about it. I just want to let her know that I'm concerned about the smell, because well, I've been around them, they smell. That's what porta potties do, they smell. So, we can deal with that when we get to that bridge, but I just want you to know that it's a great concern about what comes back.
Motion to accept the recommendation from the planning commission.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman and second by Wilson, accept the recommendation to approve the zoning. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
That concludes the main agenda.
Discussion item is Chief Davis. I wanted you to come tonight just to discuss the fire situation that we had, not so much specifically that. Concerns that we all have about fire station on MLK, the proximity of needs that we have for that facility. And I had a good conversation with the chief, and I thought it was necessary he come to discuss this with the board so he would know the urgency of that, because I don't want the chief to be in a position that knows a problem and the board members say, that's serious. So Chief?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, board. What has happened, is what I've been, about we had a structure fire on morning, 36:30 morning view. Children inside with a mom, the fire started in the kitchen area. It's down the hallway. Smoke detectors went off, alerted her. By the time she came up the hallway, smoke was coming out of the kitchen. And firefighters was notified. They responded from Station 1 right here at Bellevue. They responded from Station 3 over at Creole. They got there, both units arrived at the same time. Needless to say, morning view is in the run area for Station 2, which the station that I've been really saying that we need to get open as soon as possible. That's the busiest part of the city. We run most of our calls there. The numbers have shown that. The mother was able to get all the children out. She on her firefighter tank, and she rescued all of the children. She got them all out, went back in to get the last one. The fire was already going down the hallway, and got out of the kitchen, got into the living room. The fire truck was still en route. Once the firefighters got there, the fire already had left the kitchen area, made it through the living room, and was heading down the hallway. They made a fast attack, knocked down the fire really, really quick. My concern is that station was open. That unit would have been there way before the other two units. It could have contained the fire to the kitchen just up on an earlier route. So it's imperative that we get the trucks down, get that station back open. That area can be served just like the rest of us area. We're doing everything we can coming from the other stations to get there as soon as we can. But it's just obvious now, and it's clear that that power has been put out much sooner. And thank God, lives got out, lives, someone would perish in that fire. I would be done. And so I want to make sure all of our shoulders burden how we can get, that station back open. And personnel is a need for that to happen.
We're in the middle of our budget cycle now, and there'll be an opportunity to work with a financial consultant to try to see if there's any way. But just like everything else, Chief, it's Dr. Doc. We do that because of the emergency we find ourselves in some cases. So, Alderman, y'all have any comments?
Just thanks to the guys who responded. When they responded, that's not the only fire we've had. They were at the school fire. So these guys are, the personnel that we have, you guys are very, very responsible and active. So
it just makes it
our regards.
more challenging for them, when they come in behind the ball playing. So, but I'm willing to do whatever else, just work, study. If y'all have time to sit down or we can try to come up with whatever we can do, whatever I need, that if I can, try to make it work.
Firefighters you talking about that's gonna take to get it up ideally, optimal?
We need a minimum of 2 more personnel added.
And what's the total cost on that?
The total cost, I'll probably not reach back to HR, it's gonna be fully loaded, somewhere about 150,000. That's about
One is 50, approximately 57 now. And of course, that depends on benefits selected, but the 120 to 150 ballpark would be covering all expenses. And fully loaded costs for a year. And then any overtime that may have to result from things. So stretch it out further just to make sure the overtime is all.
Is that 2 firefighters just to open up that one station, or is that 2 firefighters to add to increase the team of firefighters that will work that station? I guess my question is, how many firefighters can you have at that station?
Will it take 6 firefighters?
2 would be trying to get each shift up to where I can have 9, 9, and 9. That way we can get that station open up with a unit to respond to the area. Eventually, of course, as money become available, we want to make sure we get staffed up even more. But just get that station open right now with a unit.
Now, look, that station is in my ward. Matter of fact, I spent many years at that station as a firefighter. Can you tell the public how we potentially got to this place? Because as we got into this office, the prior chief, along with, I guess, just the administration, we were put in a predicament where we were having to deal with the ratings board. And by us having a fire at the school, knowing good and well that station has always been the busiest station. We had to have some kind of parity across the city. But can you just go into it further on why we have nobody at this station at this point, why we potentially had to close this station as a residential concern?
Yeah, so my understanding prior to me becoming fire chief here in Moss Point, the rating bureau during COVID time spoke with the previous fire chief, and he was sharing with him the numbers, trying to, as far as staffing go, and the call volume in the commercial area versus residential area, with the insurance and all that. So basically, he gave him some flexibility when it comes to staffing. So if you still can maintain the same response time, responding to that area, then you can close this station, temporarily close this station. I've talked to the rating bureau. They advised me that was during COVID time, but now we're back up. So all your stations should be back up. But getting here, I believe we was trying to make sure all the stations was manned in an area that had more when it comes to commercial properties, what have you, versus residential. But since I've been here, I can only speak for since I've been here, our call volume is more to all the New Roads area when it comes to medical calls, fire calls. And it's populated there heavy, and we need to make sure that we get something back over there. Do I want to close any other station to do that? No, that's a fire chief. That's not what we advise. I advise we need to make sure we get personnel in there. And it's going to take a community effort, with that being said, that's one of the things that we really just don't want to cut back on when it comes to the public safety. So I really appreciate y'all entertaining that, and I'm willing to sit down and do whatever kind of work that we need to do. Please let me.
Because it's actually more than the 150K, right? Because you got maintenance costs, we got other salaries that we got to look at, and you still need help over there. So during that work study, if we can get all the numbers, so we can try to find out realistically how we can achieve that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. I'm not sure, because right now we're leasing the building. So we have an apparatus truck that we can run out of there right now, because the building is occupied right now. We have a fire truck that we can use to put in there, but I just need butts in the seat for that to happen. As far as the training go, we have the funding for their training, get them trained. As far as getting them fitted out with turnout gear, we have the funding for that. I just really need you all's help with the actual getting them fully loaded, that's when it comes to the salary. So, and I can get them lunch, I can get them here.
Hey, Chief, you know, you and I had a conversation one time. Is there, you said like if you want to make a donation, different organizations want to make a donation to that fund. Didn't you say you had to go through the United Way?
Yeah, well, I was really, I don't know who I was talking to about, when we make donations for that grant, it need to come in from, we're trying to, the audit was talking about tonight, from the grant away, because that's a substantial amount to donate. If that means that if you're gonna donate $150,000, I don't want to donate that, one time, because it's gonna be picked up the next year also. So I want a donor to do it, but I just want them to commit to doing it until the city is able to take it up. So, small donations, yes, we do have a fire department fund that's set up every day with small items where we equipment with, uniform with. But when it comes to a salary, we're gonna make sure that if a nonprofit want to do a grant or something like that, that they can continue to fund. It's legality that's involved with that, but there's ways to do it. We just have to really, that's part of that work study.
Okay.
Chief, the plan is to get together with you and our financial staff.
Oh, great.
Get the numbers together, you get the numbers the way you see them, and then we'll have a meeting where we can have that discussion and try to see how and where we can do this.
Great. All right, I just want to make sure everybody knew that. Thanks for letting me know.
Thank you, Chief. Which one is good?
That's
Motion to adjourn.
Motion second.
Walter Wilson, second Walter Chastain, who will join this meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming.